As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I had to go with Taylor Heinicke.
Yeah.
Washington getting the dub. The last undefeated team in the NFL goes down. I saw the celebrations from the old Dolphins players. Impressive, really impressive. It was cool to see how emotional Ron Rivera was after the game. His mother just passed away. That was really good. And he's fantastic. The dude has done a really good job since he's taken over. And I think they're getting some players back off the IR as well. So look out, Washington looking okay right now.
The Commanders. Now, anytime you go on the road and you force four turnovers, and yes, one of them involved just an egregious face mask that was not called. Unbelievable that they missed that. But you go on the road, you force four turnovers, you're going to put yourself in really good shape. And the time of possession disparity in that game was
Crazy.
insane. Would they have it for over 40 minutes?
Yeah. 2/3 of the game.
That's it. I mean, that's insane in the National Football League. And I'll say this, Wentz is coming back soon. You can't take Heinicke off the field if you're Ron Rivera, right? You got to keep rolling with
Him. Yes. Yes. And if for no other reason, I don't know the guy. He's probably the best guy ever. But for some reason, it feels like Carson Wentz doesn't really galvanize the locker rooms on teams that he's playing for.
it.
Right?
Seems like everyone hates him.
Yes. Yes.
Like you've never heard. Now, I have heard some of his teammates at various stops like defend him publicly, but not the like. Doesn't seem like there's a ton of passion behind those defense.
Right.
I for whatever reason, he rubs people the wrong way. I never met the guy, but
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
I don't know. And like you want to play the best guy, obviously, but you also like people play better for guys they like.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you wish in a perfect world everyone went out and played the exact same, no matter what the circumstances were, no matter what the record was, no matter who you were playing, and no matter who's playing quarterback. But stuff like that does factor in, and that team responds to Taylor Heinicke.
He's 3-1 as a
There you go.
starter. And you got all kinds of guys are putting chains on him on the plane on the way home, like they're putting their glasses on. Like I, that stuff matters, man.
Yep.
You have to give him a chance to lose the job if that makes sense, right?
Good mojo. Yep.
Yeah,
He's got some
yeah.
good mojo.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
I had to go with North Carolina. I You look at the college football playoff rankings, and they're what, number 13, and I'm not suggesting that they should be in the top 4 and the top 5, but I know their strength of schedule is what it is, but I feel like that's a lot of disrespect. They're about to beat Clemson. I think they're going to beat Clemson. So I feel like that was pretty disrespectful where they've been placed, considering like what their quarterback is doing and the numbers he's putting up that are unbelievable. I feel like they should have been ranked higher.
And the fact that they're being disrespected with those jerseys, that blue, it makes it even worse. No, I hear what you're saying, and I think that they got some opportunities, but Notre Dame, we feel like they're a solid team now, but the loss to Marshall, and
Yeah.
the loss to Stanford, just can you put a team in the playoff that lost to a team that lost to Marshall and Stanford? That's
No.
that's hard to reason out if you are the old playoff committee. That's tough.
Yeah. No, there's some truth to that. And as it happens every year, most of this stuff is going to play itself out, but it's I don't know. I like Drake May. I like North Carolina. I think they're going to do some damage. I think they're going to win the ACC.
The stat line for Drake May, completing 70% of his passes, 3,412 yards, 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Crazy. And
He's also the team's leading rusher.
Yeah, I was about to say he's added some good stuff on the ground as well.
584 yards, 5 touchdowns. So some quick math tells me he has accounted for 39 touchdowns.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty impressive. But
if
yeah,
he's on any other team, he's your Heisman Trophy or Heisman favorite right now.
I completely agree. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. For my winner of the week, I'm going with Tennessee. It's kind of the opposite of your North Carolina argument, I suppose. They're sitting real pretty at number 5, man.
Yep.
I mean, you look at it, Ohio State, Michigan, still got to play each other. TCU has an interesting one with Baylor, and then still have the Big 12 championship game, looking like that'll be a rematch with a really good Kansas State team. USC may have the toughest road of any of the playoff contenders, right? With UCLA, Notre Dame, and then a Pac-12 championship game. Tennessee, I know LSU's sitting there, right? And they could mess everything up. They're sitting there at number 6 now. But, I mean, Tennessee beat the hell out of LSU.
Yeah.
On their own field.
Looks better and better, right? Tennessee is, in my opinion, if they win out, they're in easily.
I think they're in a really, really good spot.
It's hard to find a scenario in which they wouldn't make it. I don't think you could put the loser of Ohio State, Michigan ahead of Tennessee. There's just no way. No one's resume is anywhere close to Tennessee's.
I agree with that. Tennessee's just they're going to have way better wins than whoever loses that Ohio State Michigan game, and
way better wins and a way better, well, not way better, but still a better loss.
Right. I suppose the worst case scenario for Tennessee would be LSU wins the SEC, right, in a really, really close game against Georgia. So there'd be an argument that both those teams should be in because, yeah, that's really the worst case scenario for Tennessee. Yeah. Like, they need Georgia to just roll. And
it would suck that someone may get in over Tennessee just because they would be the third SEC team.
Yeah.
Right.
That's reality.
But is there any chance they wouldn't put the SEC champion in?
No.
That has 2 losses and lost to Tennessee?
I am 100% convinced that if LSU runs the table, beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, not only are they in, they may be the 1 seed. Like, that's,
I agree, but that sucks if you're Tennessee.
But so if you're Tennessee, this is your worst case scenario, right? LSU beats Georgia in the SEC championship game. TCU goes undefeated, and USC is able to navigate this 3-game stretch and be a 1-loss Pac-12 champ. If that all happens, you're on the outside looking in.
It may not. It may only be LSU beating Georgia. Because that is, I mean,
because the Big Ten, like Ohio State or Michigan's in,
right,
and then you'll have
2 SEC teams. You got 1 spot there, for TCU, Tennessee, USC, Clemson. There's a bunch of spots there. Like, you are big Georgia fans in the SEC championship.
Yeah, that's what Tennessee needs, is for Georgia to roll. I will say the fact that the college football playoff rankings show was in between the Kentucky-Michigan State basketball game and the Duke-Kansas game, and then the Kentucky-Michigan State game went to double overtime. everyone was so pissed. Like my entire Twitter timeline was like, "Can we get to the rankings, please? Why am I having to watch college basketball in November?" It was that I understand what ESPN's trying to pull off there. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people watch more college basketball than they want to admit, right? You're just waiting for the rankings, but it was pretty funny how that ended up working out.
Yeah, that was just, it's, if anything can happen, it will happen, right? Oh, there's just this one scenario that could throw a wrench in things. Well, get ready, it's coming.
Yeah, Herb Street, Herb Street even like addressed it in some of his comments. He was like, "I thought they were going to go to triple overtime. It'd be great." But it was pretty funny. All right, for my loser of the week, I I thought about going with the LA Rams. Man, just season not going well. 3-6, last place in the NFC West. Stafford, missed the last game in concussion protocol. Still is in concussion protocol, and now Cooper Kupp having that tightrope ankle surgery, going to IR, going to be out at least a month. It has not gone well for the defending Super Bowl champs. Ted, I'm sure this is not how Sean McVay saw it going, or maybe it is. Maybe that's why he thought about jumping into the broadcast booth, because he maybe saw this coming. It's not going well for the old Rams.
No, they geared up for a big run at it, got it done, and it's just natural, man, to have a hangover year after accomplishing everything, right? It's maybe the hardest thing in sports to do is to, even whenever you may have the best roster, get everyone geared up again for that long grind of a championship season, championship run. So yeah, it's been tough on them, just mounting injuries, and it's just brutal.
Yeah. I also thought about going with Ticketmaster. From what I understand, a lot of people wanted Taylor Swift tickets, and Ticketmaster was not prepared for what happened. And all I saw for about a 12-hour period was how much people hate Ticketmaster because they botched the Taylor Swift tour ticket situation. People were angry, man. I mean, really angry.
I thought maybe this is bad that I thought it was funny, but I saw people making fun of the fact that, you know, there was speculation and thought and fears, I guess, that Russia launched missiles into Poland and like on the brink of World War III. And the thing trending ahead of it was Taylor Swift and Ticketmaster. People being more upset about not being able to get their early tickets for the Taylor Swift tour. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was a lot of angry people, a lot of angry Swifties out there. But my loser of the week, NFL players that don't like playing in the international games. We got a little more news from the old National Football League. So first of all, the game in Germany looked awesome, right? Bunch of rowdy Germans, gigantic beers, like looked like a good time. They got to watch Tom Brady and the Bucs get a win over the Seahawks. It sounds like the NFL was very pleased with how that one went, Ted.
Well, when they had NFL Europe, Germany was really, really big into it. I think some of those teams continued to play after the NFL Europe dissolved there in Germany, and they had huge followings, and it looked awesome. They didn't leave after the game is how awesome it was. They all just stayed in the stands and kept drinking.
And they were like running on the field.
Yeah.
It looked like a good time. There's 3 more years left on that contract for the Germany games. So those are going to keep happening. So you've got the Germany games, you've got all the London games, which I think we've all come to, just gotten used to. And the Cardinals 49ers game this coming week on Monday Night Football, that game's going to be in Mexico City. So the international games are here, they're staying, and it appears the NFL is interested in adding some more. They have their sights set on France and Spain, which an NFL game in Paris wouldn't suck. An NFL game in Barcelona, sign me up. I still think that's the coolest city I've ever been to in the world. But This is something I didn't know. So according to ESPN, Ted, like the NFL has divvied up what they call home marketing rights to teams in other countries. So like the Jaguars in the UK, right? And that gives you the ability to have what would be labeled as a home game in that country. And
Try and saturate your brand in that region.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. And I guess the Bears and Dolphins have the rights to Spain. So if you're a Bears or Dolphins fan, like get ready, gear up. You're going to Barcelona at some point here in the future.
I don't mind it. I think, it's just the natural move for the NFL because it's always got to be about growth, right? How are you going to continue to grow your sport and find new revenue pockets? And internationally is where say what you want. Whenever you see the numbers that soccer does and the numbers that like cricket, like there's international sports out there that have like 1 billion people watch their championship, and we don't even know anything about it. And it's kind of how football is, and they're trying to expand that and bring it to more people. So yeah, you're right. Get used to it, players. You're going to be logging some miles.
Yeah. So get now pre-prepare your complaints about the field conditions and how bad the grass is. Just get it ready because you're going to need it. Because those international games, not only are they not going away, there are going to be more and more of them.
I would just say that the NFL there needs to be some type of special alert for fans and fantasy owners to make sure that they have everything set before those 8:30 a.m. kickoffs. It catches a lot of people slipping, myself included.
I was about to say that sounds like there's some personal experience there.
Like I want my phone to like go off like the Amber Alert thing, like whenever there's an international NFL game about to be played.
It's not a bad idea. Come on, NFL, notify the people. There's a lot on the line in some of those fantasy matchups.
That's right.
That's funny.